Today in the crypto space, we're seeing a bit of a recovery to the upside. Bitcoin up approximately 5%. Ethereum still down, however, still getting a bit of relief after yesterday's dump. The rest of the crypto space, the altcoins are doing pretty good as well. We have Solana doing pretty good, XRP nice and green, up approximately 5%, and many others. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one project that we haven't talked about for a while, and of course, it dipped down to some critical levels, and the question is, should we be buying the dip? And that project is called Neon. So you know what, let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. Whether we go up or down, bearish, bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's take a look at the general market first. We'll scrape through the top 100. Then we'll take a look at Bitcoin as a leading indicator. And then finally, Neon. What's going on with Neon? It's been a while since I talked about Neon, and I let it fall. The reality is I let it hit its bottom. I let it hit a nice retracement. I let it hit where we can potentially see a nice reversal in this market. So, of course, as we hit those levels, it's time to take a bit of risk, and we'll take a look at the charts. At the current moment, we see Bitcoin definitely showing a lot of strength. Leading the way, is it the Bitcoin conference? What is it that's causing Bitcoin to look this way? It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, Bitcoin is doing great, propping up the market in general. Slowly, we should see a bit of the gains that people make in Bitcoin rotate into the altcoin market, beginning with Ethereum. And this is why we could potentially be seeing Ethereum catch up to Bitcoin very soon. In the meantime, we got to be patient, but Ethereum right now is up 2.3%. But big picture, it's still kind of slumpy in comparison to Bitcoin. That's why on the heat map, we saw it a little bit more red. But BNB and Solana recovering very nicely. Particularly, I really like the structure of Sol. It's up 6% as we speak. And if we continue going down, you can see that a lot of these price actions looking pretty good, because even XRP, as it is down 2%, it's still within structure. You know, it's still going sideways, so it's okay. It's not too bad. You know, it's likely to get a continuation to the upside based on, you know, some sideways. Or if it goes sideways for way too long, you know, it may look like a Bart Simpson pattern. So just be careful there when you're looking at those consolidations. If they overstay their welcome, sometimes they just kind of come down, pick up more bullish bids, and perhaps maybe start looking for higher levels once again. We do see Tron waking up a little bit. AVAX took a dip but didn't get a recovery. And as you can see, the general market is still dippish, like it's still coming down. However, we got a bit of relief. We got a bit of, you know, green in the last little while. I would say overnight, in the last 10 hours or so, we've been seeing a bit of green. Last night, I deployed a lot of capital into the altcoin market. After the live stream, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go shopping. I've been holding on to some dry powder for a good while, collecting and basically, you know, raising capital. You know, to be able to buy the dips is the best way to do it. When you see those red days, you do have that dry powder to buy dips, and that's what I said to myself: is look, I've been, you know, holding on to this dry powder. Now's the time. When you see the red, when you see the fear, uncertainty, and doubt, even if it's on the 4-hour and the lower time frames, it's all good. You start to deploy, and that's what I did. And we do see a bit of green. I'm happy about that, but it doesn't mean that it's over. I do plan on deploying more capital if we do come down a little bit more, to deploy until we get major reversals. That's called a DCAing. Guys, if you're new to crypto, feel free to join the Discord. Feel free to join the community, because ultimately we're looking into strategies on how we can prepare for this continuation to the upside with regards to a bull run. We need the bull run to continue. We want the bull run to continue, but we would want our portfolios to be prepared for it. As you continue going down, there are still opportunities, lots of them. Like even Matic, the reality is it didn't recover that much based on the Ethereum narrative. Guys, there could be a bit of fear, uncertainty, and doubt with regards to the Ethereum narrative, but it should do a full recovery when people least expect it. Now, what's quite interesting is that you have other layer ones, other than Ethereum's. The Ethereum competitors, let's say, are still showing strength. For example, Caspa. Caspa going sideways, guys, is great. 2.6% to the upside in the last little bit, but Caspa is going sideways, showing a bit of strength. And if you keep on going down, even Monero, nice pop to the upside. You have Mantle doing pretty good, nice relief. Stacks, of course, based on Bitcoin's narrative, doing very well. Render, nice pop to the upside, 13.5%. And of course, it is a larger cap, but it can still do some good moves to the upside. In the meantime, we see BitTensor doing well, also 14% to the upside. Great moves to the upside. Nice recovery here on Tau. And as the market continues to dip, we do see some good gainers, right? Filecoin is not bad, and we have Injective waking up, but the overall structure is making lower lows and lower highs. Except Injective, right now it's basically trying to break above the previous local high, which is a good thing because then we start to see a bit of confirmation that we're making higher highs. Then we come down to make a higher low, and then the trend is your friend, and we're moving upward. So this is the time where we could be expecting structural change of character in the current price action. This is what we have to be looking out for. VeChain took a bit of a dip in the last little while, so you know what? Maybe it's a good buy opportunity. A nice recovery here would be awesome. Weave as well, looking for that recovery, and a lot of the market is looking for the recovery. And then you have Thorchain Rune up 10.6%. Great gainer, guys. This is one of the projects that when it does wake up, it wakes up and melts faces. So I'm expecting this to do very, very well in the next little while. This is why I got into some good positions on Thorchain Rune in the last little bit. So I'm expecting some green to the upside in the next bit. What else do we have? Aave looking great, nice recovery, another 13%, and the market is basically looking for recoveries, right? We have Pith recovering very nicely, even Troop is doing okay. Jasmine making lower highs still, but still doing okay. Jupiter and Jasmine are examples of projects that did get a bit of relief, that are looking pretty strong, but are still in downwards momentum in the sense that we're making lower lows and lower highs. So keep that in mind. A lot of people are concerned about Phantom, guys, because Phantom's price action, the Phantom chart is not looking the greatest. So what we have to really understand is what levels are we going to be hitting? Are we going to be hitting some good horizontals? Are we back testing to get confirmations? And those are usually opportunities, guys. So what I would think about Phantom is obviously a layer one that has a lot of potential. Its market cap is over $1 billion, so it is quite large. It's not the largest cap. It does have some good strength, of course, based on its ecosystem growth and the dApps that exist on its network. So it's not bad of a scenario. Guys, do your fundamental research. That will help you get fundamentally bullish to be deploying capital at the bottom of the range as it does come down for that retracement. What else do we have? We have a lot of retracements, pullbacks, some basically recoveries throughout the market, like already looking pretty good, but still not really. Up 10%. I get it, percentage wise it does look good, but if you look at the actual fractals of price action here, what's the difference, right? We're making lower lows and lower highs still. We want to see a change of character. We want to see some volume in the change of character. We want to see divergences at the bottom of the range. We want to get oversold. We want bullish conditions, and then we deploy a lot more capital. All right, guys, I know you're here to talk about charts, so let's begin. Let's see what's going on with Bitcoin. Bitcoin, at the end of the day, has been showing a lot of strength and giving the market what it needs to be propped up here for a continuation to the upside. Now, we could be talking about Bitcoin, pretty much in a very bullish way, but of course, there's going to be bears looking at in a bearish way. And at the end of the day here on the channel, we don't mind. Of course, there's opportunities either way. And you can see that generally speaking, big picture, I feel like getting into the 4-day here for a second, because as the structure grows, you can see that ultimately what's happening here is that we're consolidating. We're going into a, bull flag. This is a really nice big bull flag, and after a nice impulsive move, right, you can see impulsive to the upside, and now we're consolidating like this, a bit retraced abrasive, but it's all good. It's still a nice impulsive consolidation, a nice bull flag for continuation to the upside. And what's quite interesting is the fact that if you take these tops and you start looking at where this price action is, guys, it's starting to feel like we're getting to that top level where eventually we can start breaking out. Let's get back into the daily, and you can see that in a little bit of detail here is that this bull flag is ready to go, ready to go. If you connect all the tops, you can see that ultimately we're ready to start breaking out to the upside. However, did we get our major retracement? Are we done with this? Are we going to be looking for a breakout right now? As we get closer to the tops of the price action, closer to about 70,000-ish, 71,000, guys, that's when you become a breakout trader, right? The entries down here were crucial. This was very important. Now, I was expecting more of a back test, but guess what, guys? The back test ended up being very shallow. The backtest ended up backtesting this previous high. The backtest respected the thick white line that I put in a couple of days ago, suggesting, look, we could even go sideways and potentially get into some sort of bull flag right here. You never know, right? Obviously, this could be exaggerated. We might not even get into that extensive sideways price action, but ultimately, that's what could be happening. A continuation to the upside after some sort of, consolidation or price action right into here, suggesting continuation. So this is where we're at, guys. Now the FOMO could be kicking in. I get it, especially with Bitcoin. For those of you that are getting introduced to crypto, usually it's Bitcoin that is the introduction, but this is the time to actually start saying, you know what, it could be a bit risky here because we could get rejected to come back down. We could, or we could actually break out. So it's a bit of a difficult scenario. What I would be doing is waiting for the breakout, of course, waiting for a back test and waiting for another move. But ultimately, these back tests sometimes don't happen, evidently based on what happened here. Nice moves to the upside. Look at the shallow retracement. However, if we make some sort of structure here, we could still come down and then continue to the upside. But guys, the name of the game is risk management, and at the end of the day, you're buying a bit of a top, like you're getting close to the previous highs, and that's where risk comes in because of all the resistance to actually break out. And we can see that based on the daily. We did get slightly overbought. We do see that the volatility and the momentum, is curling to the upside once again. So this is a really good thing in the sense that we might be getting overbought. And the mean reversion play did play out really, really well. We saw the purple line come back to the yellow. Maybe we get that bounce. We get overbought. And then finally, we maybe hang out here for a little bit. And then we roll over and get oversold. And that, of course, is the opportunity that you might have to be buying the dip. Just keep in mind that in bullish conditions and bull runs and raging bull runs, those retracements to get oversold are very rare, and ultimately we stay overbought longer than we do stay oversold, which obviously makes sense because we're moving to the upside with some exponential gains. So this is what we really have to understand, is that the bias is going to be to the upside. And we did notice that ultimately the 4-hour did its thing. Based on that 4-hour dip that I've been calling for the last 4 days, we definitely was able to stay one step ahead of the market. So now let's see what's going on with the daily. We need the daily to continue to the upside. So far, EMA is facing up, green histogram bars, and the expansion is definitely still moving up here on the trend oscillator, so we're still doing good. And on the 4-hour, we did get that reversal in the sense that we did get that dip. Okay, we did get the dip, and we got slightly oversold, very, very slightly. We didn't even reach the 30% mark, so it's not even a deep one. Now, could this be just a scenario where we come up? You can see these highs. Let me get a trend line going. You can see the highs basically right into here. Are we going to respect this level and make a lower high and then come down for another lower low and get oversold? And if that happens, expect Bitcoin to dip. This is what I'm saying here, guys. We're reaching a bit of a top with regards to momentum, and I don't like that the momentum right here is basically making lower highs and lower lows and maybe going for oversold conditions very soon. The divergence actually followed through very nicely here, guys. You can see that as the price was moving to the upside, we were making lower lows on the price action, higher highs on the price action and lower lows on the momentum. On all of these oscillators, this is a multi-momentum oscillator where we get lots of signals of momentum, volatility, momentum, and obviously expansion. And you can see that we expanded to the downside very, very strong with a very strong conviction. And then all of a sudden, now we're hesitating. Could we taper in and be done with this and then all of a sudden see a green expansion to the upside. That's what we should be looking forward to. So yeah, this is the name of the game here, guys. We've done what we had to do on the retracement side of things. Now, if we get rejected here on Bitcoin, we could come down as a dead cat bounce and break right through the lower lows and make lower lows and lower highs. After that, guys, that's obviously bearish. But as of now, I have no choice but to remain bullish as long as we are above $63,000. Guys, we're doing pretty good here above that 200 daily EMA. So we're doing good. Let's move on. Let's take a look at Neon. Now, if you're looking for entries, I do see, the FOMO kicking in on Bitcoin. However, if you're looking for entries, start considering to deploy a bit of capital in the altcoin market, given the fact that some of them have either retraced to bear market bottoms or even haven't left the bear market bottom and are looking for nice levels of horizontal support, suggesting that they're ready to wake up. And as we see capital rotate into the riskier projects, we could see the altcoins definitely wake up and show some strength. And keep in mind, altcoins market caps are a lot smaller, which means that we can get into a position where we can make a lot more gains than just getting into, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the large cap altcoins. Now, we do see that Neon hit some critical levels in the sense, number one, the retracement was deep. This is where we started going sideways. We came up for a confirmation low, a lower high, a confirmation high, a lower high, and we came down for a lower low. Now we're in some sort of descending wedge type of structure. And you can see that we came down to basically touch these bottoms, and we're doing pretty good. We got a nice reaction there, which I appreciate. It gives us a proof of life. It gives us a sense that the market wants to respect this horizontal. So what I'm going to do is do one of these. I'm going to make this one thinner and start emphasizing the importance of this one. This one's starting to get really juicy because really, look at that reaction that we got. Very, very nice reaction. Now, obviously, it's a bullish state, right? We got into a descending wedge type of pattern, and we broke out and we broke trend, right? A bit of a trend here. Now we're still below the 200 daily, something to consider. Number one. Number two, something to consider. We didn't make any major higher highs yet, so that's very important, or even higher lows confirmed just yet. So what we're really doing now is waiting for a back test in a confirmation low, a higher low. And it does look like it might give it to us, because after volume like this, it gives us a sense of conviction. There's market participation in this rally up. It's a very strong one, right? Nice first impulsive move that looks like proof of life. And the fact is that there's people looking at the 200 daily as a trend indicator, and the fact that, as long as we stay below, or if we touch it, we could go short. And guess what? A lot of the market did at the current moment, and we're in a bit of a retracement back down to where we came from. But as long as we make a higher low, and ideally right now, why? Because if you look at the volume gap, let me show you what I mean. There's a bit of a volume gap right here, a small one. We could be respecting it and stay right at this level, which is above, this level, 57 cents more or less. And at worst case scenario, we come down for a double bottom. Worst case scenario, we come down for a double bottom, but at least your invalidation is very, very clear. The invalidation of a bullish thesis is this thick yellow line that I just put in right here. So really, this is a great buy opportunity, right? Especially if you start finding signs of divergence into some of this price action. So let's do that. Let's take a look at the oscillators here for a second. We do have let's see what we got here. We got some follow through very clearly. Nice follow through. Let's make this smaller so we can get more real estate here. You can see lower lows on the price action. And at any given point, do we see that the momentum started running while the price was falling? Not really, guys. So we didn't get some major reversals, patterns, or indications on the momentum, which is the purple line. But we did see some good signs of reversal or a divergence here on the expansion, right? So we can see these two expansion waves, and very little, guys, you can see as we're making lower lows on the price, the expansion, in fact, this one right here was a little bit smaller, not as strong, just slightly. Now, what's more concerning to me, and this is the opportunity before we get bigger signs of divergence, is that we understand that the current moment, the volatility is pushing to the downside here on the daily. See this orange line? Look how it's pushing down. It's likely to want to get oversold, right? It goes oversold, overbought, oversold, overbought very frequently. frequently and it's a lot quicker than looking at the momentum line. The momentum line already got overbought. Maybe it's likely to get, more aggressively overbought or get another touch into overbought conditions, but not yet. Once the volatility gets oversold, or maybe even gets a reversal right here and gets back up, then we'll get that momentum right to those higher levels. In the meantime, I'm seeing negative momentum. I'm seeing negative volatility to the downside, and we could expect a continuation to the downside until we kind of settle this volatility line to oversold conditions. Now, this is the prime time to get into the lower time frames, because then we can track what's going to happen, what's happening with this volatility to the downside. If we get onto the 4-hour, you can see the volatility right now is already oversold. Momentum got into the chop zone. What happens in the chop zone? Usually we go sideways for a little bit, and then sometimes we either get a reversal, but most of the times we continue to get oversold. So this is where probability kicks in. I give it a high probability of getting oversold, given the fact that we went from oversold here, we slowly hung out here, we went overbought, now we're coming down, hanging out here, and now we get oversold. And that's our opportunity there on the 4-hour, is to basically time the daily, because the daily, I showed you the volatility pushing down, but if the 4-hour is going to get reset, guys, expect the daily to also get its reset. And then finally, we can buy the dips at slightly lower levels, even if it means coming down to about 44 cents as a slightly higher low. That would be an 886 retracement based on Fibonacci theory, and that would be a really good opportunity to get in based on a risk to reward ratio. Now, speaking of risk to reward, let's take a look at our setup. How would I do this? Now, at the current moment, I'll admit entries are not the best. Okay, big picture they are, because that means you're talking about bull run rally. Okay, I'm talking about short term in the sense, right? And we'll talk about bull run rally entries. This entry, and then stop loss underneath the horizontal. Okay, and if you look at your next level of resistance, really, if you look at the bottoms and everything, I feel like where it is right now might not be a bad scenario to say, you know what, we might get a bit of a rejection. 65% pump, but if you look at the risk to reward, it's only 1 to 6, 1.6 to 1. So it's not a really good ratio. Really, it's a pretty bad one. It's almost 50-50, right? So what you have to start thinking is big picture, zoom out. Now, the reality is, what about if we hit this high? That's quite modest. We're not even getting into previous highs or price discovery. What about right around here? This is a good level. Well, now you're up 220%, and you're looking at a 5 to 1 ratio, which is a lot better. So let's keep this statistic in mind for a second. The price target of a descending wedge, just keep in mind that descending wedges break out bullish. That's their bias, right? The bias breakout is to the upside, and then their target is usually the base of the wedge. Now, where's the base of the wedge? Right here at $1.80. So in fact, saying that we could get rejection here is very viable. We can come up, get rejection, come back down, make a higher low, and then continue to the upside. I'm not saying we can't get volatility around this zone based on the volume gap, based on this bottom, based on this tops, and so on. What I'm saying is that ultimately, after we weather that storm, after we kind of grind through it, a very viable price target is all the way up here. So what we could be doing is either putting our take profit right around this level, or putting a bit of a take profit right here. Obviously the risk to reward is not the greatest. And then what you could do is trail up the stop loss into profit and let the trade run all the way to this level, which is great. Now, how else can you improve your entry is by improving your buy opportunity, waiting for it to fall a little bit more. If it's going to happen, wait for structure, wait for a nice rounded bottom on the 4-hour, and start deploying a bit of capital right into here. And right away, you start improving your risk to reward ratio by bringing your entry closer to your invalidation, to where your stop loss is, right around this level. Give it a bit of wiggle room with your stop loss, because you don't want to get basically wicked out, and then obviously you're going to see the price move in the correct direction, and then you're going to be basically exit your position. So what we want is to be patient. What we want is to have a big picture perspective as well, and then of course there's always price discovery and all of that, and obviously there's some great price action to the upside here. If it's in a great bullish narrative, obviously EVM can compatibility for Solana projects is very, very hot. If you're interested in the Solana project and you basically appreciate the value in EVM, guys, it's a great project. It's a great project from its fundamental perspective. Guys, go check out the deep dives. Obviously, deep dives are a great opportunity for you to get fundamentally bullish when you see price action coming down to some critical levels. Guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor. Slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. Feel free to join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.